The church is in France. It's pretty young. It hasn't been around super long. But surprisingly, I was actually pretty surprised at how many members there already are there. It was pretty cool. And especially while I was there, to watch and to hear the stories from other cities and stuff, at how fast it was growing. It was pretty crazy. Because I remember before my mission, I had all my friends were either going to like Brazil or Mexico, and it was like, where are you going? Mexico City. Oh, you're gonna have a lot of baptisms. Where are you going? Oh, Africa. Oh, you're gonna have a lot of baptisms. Where are you going? Paris, France. You're gonna see some cool stuff, man. Like, it's gonna be sweet. But so I mean, I went in there with the expectation like nobody gets baptized here. We're just kind of here to just spread the church. But no, people definitely get baptized. Tons of people get baptized. It's crazy. I guess some of the languages that are spoken there, that's French, obviously, Spanish. Like, I trained someone who's called Spanish speaking and got to use that and learn a little bit of Spanish. There's Mandarin. I think that's it. And then, so what includes in the mission, it's the northern half of France, Belgium, and Luxembourg. And so I actually got to serve in France and Belgium. And yeah, Belgium was pretty sweet. I like Belgium a lot. Oh yeah, there's a temple being built right now. It's not done. I think it's in 2016, like October 2016. It's supposed to be finished. And they started building that. It's been a while, but it's starting to make some good progression now. When it comes to transportation, you're usually walking or you're taking some sort of public transportation, like a bus, a metro, a train. There's some cities that have cars, but there's not. I think there's like 6 or 8 in our mission. And one of them is like where the office elders are. And I don't even know if the assistants, they didn't really use the car that much. You're mostly walking. Housing, you're always in apartments. There's like, I think there's one apartment where they stayed in a house they shared with a member, but for the most part, you're always in an apartment. They're okay. In Belgium, I remember the apartments were bigger than in France because I think it's cheaper to live in Belgium than it is in France. Yeah, it's usually just like 1 or 2 rooms, bathroom, kitchen. My first apartment, I remember in Antony. So if you go to Antony, that's in like southern Paris, the kitchen was tiny. Like, I remember the width of the kitchen was like this. And like, so when we'd have to walk by, we'd have to like squeeze past each other. For the most part, they're like, I don't know, they're not that ghetto, like, to be honest. Like, they're okay. But I remember the Belgium apartments were a lot nicer. And then I guess the typical day, you wake up at 6:30, work out till 7. And then between 7 and 8, you like get ready for the day, eat breakfast, like just prepare stuff. And then you have personal study at 8 to 9, companionship study 9 to 10. And then the beginning of my mission, you had language study from 10 to 11. And then my president changed it to from 10 to 10:30. And then, so we'll say like from 10:30 you go out and you go proselyte, or you teach lessons if you have them planned, until about 12-ish, like between 12 and 1. So when you come home and you eat lunch, and then you go back out and you either go talk to people in the park or on the streets, or like teach lessons, or it also depended on the day what you did. And then come home and eat dinner at 5. And then 6 to 9 is golden time. That's when you go out and you go knock doors, go find some families. Yeah, it's afterwards, 9 o'clock you come home. If you have a lesson, you're allowed to be out till 9:30. And then you plan for half an hour, or however long it takes. There's times where it took me 10 minutes to plan at night. There's times where it took me 40 minutes to plan. Like, it just depends on what you have going the next day. And then once you're finished planning, usually like I like to get done around like 9:30. And you just get ready for bed, just chillax, just hang out. If you have other people in your apartment, just talk about your day. You could really do whatever you want, like in that time. And then lights out 10:30. PDAs were sick, because there's just so much to do. Like one of my PDAs, like we went and played, there's a basketball court underneath the Eiffel Tower, and we went and played there. Another PDA, like we just relaxed. Like, you can really do whatever you want, but I would recommend taking advantage of the time that you have there to go like visit the sites of the city where you're in. My mission president's wife said one time, she's like, well, she encouraged it. She said, on your PDAs, like go and like go see things, and like go know the people that you're serving, because it enables you to love them more. And I do believe that a lot, because when you go into these like museums, or when it talks about wars, or like what this country had to go through to be where it's at, you really start to like have a feel for them. And like when you can say to like a French person, like, oh, like you guys did this, or like this city is known for this, like they're proud of it. And And the fact that you know it makes them kind of like you more. And so, yeah, like you could go. Most of the time it was like sightseeing, I would say. I feel like the French were way more sincere. Like if they gave us the time to listen, they were really like going in deep. Like they really wanted to know. The Africans were kind of more like, you would more like tell them like, okay, so Joseph Smith saw God. I'm like, oh, cool, Joseph Smith saw God. And they kind of would just accept it. Whereas like the French, like they really would try to understand. And I remember there's some statistic, I can't remember it, but they're talking about other missions, like these other places where people typically baptize more, there's more converts in the area. What happened is, like, I don't know, just take something, for example, like Mexico or like somewhere in South America. That's typically like the stereotype for a lot of baptisms. People would fall away pretty often because they maybe didn't have a sound understanding. Whereas in France and like Northern Europe, the people who that were converted to the church usually stayed, and for generations would stay because they had a more firm understanding, they understood more of the doctrine. Muslims, I'll be honest, like I think I heard of one conversion of a Muslim, one or two on my mission from Islam to Christianity into, Latter-day Saint religion. There was one guy that actually had the opportunity of teaching, and he was Muslim. He's not practicing, and we had permission to teach him as well. And the guy was incredible. Like, he really had a desire to know about God, and he really wanted to know. And so I guess he's an example of, like, I guess there are sincere. I guess there's sincerity in all of them, but most Muslims, I'd give you like one. Yeah, and so the Muslims that maybe they were practicing at one point and then they kind of fell away and they're really starting to search, I feel like they were really sincere too. But I think that when it came to the French people, I saw more efforts out of them. Like you would say, okay, read this chapter by the next time we come back, and then we'll talk about it. They would read it, and then like Africans like, oh, I read it, and then you're like, what did it say? And they're like, yeah, you talked about Joseph Smith, and it's like in First Nephi, like, yeah, kind of, yeah. And then this Muslim guy, he always read. Like, I shouldn't say always. There's like one time he didn't, but for the most part, he was like, I want to know. It was cool.